my Katie Pie, my Kathleen, my Putacita. I'm so lucky to soon call you my wife. Before you came along, I never thought of myself as a lost soul.
I don't know or understand this mystery.
I never sought to have a hole in my heart filled. And now that you've added so much colour to my life, so much love and excitement, I couldn't imagine not having you to grow old with me.
My beautiful Gab, the gift of your love has been the greatest surprise and now my most treasured possession. And with it, I feel invincible. And although I can't wait to seek out the joy in the world together for the rest of our lives, to have been loved by you is and always will be enough. Gab, what was the first thing you noticed about Kate?
Her wild hair.
Gab knew she loved you before you left Vietnam, even though your final date was rigid as fuck and so awkward. She was playing along with the holiday fling line, but she was confused by her own emotions and saying goodbye was really hard. Gab, from the first moment, Kate thought you were cool and sexy. She was immediately enthralled by you. Kate remembers the strawberry-flavoured cigarettes you smoked on New Year's Eve. And even though she's an asthmatic who had never smoked a ciggy in her life, she asked to have a drag because she wanted you to think that she was cool too. Things aren't overly planned and you don't know exactly what your future holds, but that suits your intrepid souls just fine. As Gab said, she quite likes being at the whims of life's mysteries. When you look to the future, there can be no doubt there will be lots more travel. You'll always find new cultures to explore, mountains to hike. You're guaranteed to taste everything you can and talk to anyone along the way. As long as the future provides you with more of the same, you know you're already amongst the lucky ones. It is my great pleasure to declare you married. You may now kiss your bride. I do not want to have you to fill the empty parts of me. I want to be full on my own. I want to be so complete I could light a whole city, and then I want to have you. Because the two of us combined could set it on fire.
Hey everyone, welcome to a new film breakdown with Wedding Film School. Today we've got Andrew and Grace from Bottlebrush Films in Melbourne, Australia here with us. So I just wanted to introduce you all to them and share some of their work on today's film breakdown. So obviously this film wasn't quite your normal wedding film in a traditional sense. So I'd love to hear what you guys did in terms of the creative inspiration behind this project. You know, lead us up to how it came about, how you met the couple, and you know, how you gave them a vision for this project, or did they give you a vision? I'd love to know more about how it all came about.
Oh, where do we start? I don't even know. For me personally,
it was basically a film competition that we put on, like a what do you call it, like an elopement dedication that we were doing with a photographer friend of ours. We basically just wanted to do something like super creative, so we got like a few vendors together and did it kind of like a styled shoot but like a real wedding, and we got a few people like reply back, and these two girls, Gabby and Kate, were like the two that we loved the most, so we definitely picked them.
Yeah,
they're awesome.
Yeah, we wanted to flip the script on like how a traditional wedding or an elopement runs, and have the couple come into it knowing that we would have full creative control.
Yeah.
That's not to say that we're going to boss them around and make them our mannequins. We still wanted them to have a great experience, which I think they definitely did.
Yeah, it was a really good time.
But yeah, we've like just through the years, there's been so many things I'd wanted to play with cinematography wise in terms of lighting and experimenting with light, haze, using a projector as a light source, all sorts of crazy things. And I even said that, like, we're not married or anything, but I always said that if we do get married, I wanted to get married in front of a bonfire. And then I realised, no, it'd be way more fun to actually film that. So hence why Gabby and Kate got married in front of a bonfire.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you pulled together a celebrant. We hear some dialogue from the celebrant in the video. How long did it take to film that video that evening?
What time did we start?
Oh my God, I don't even remember.
I think we started about 2 or 3 o'clock, didn't we?
Yeah, it was kind of like we ran it similar to just your typical wedding day. Like, we filmed them getting ready in the morning, and that shower scene you see is something we'd wanted to do for a really long time too. So we started with a shower scene, filmed them getting ready, and then kind of went from there. But yeah, it went right. We ended up filming right until midnight because we were having so much fun. So
I think it was after midnight.
It was like after midnight. We were just like with the girls, like, you know, testing all this cool lighting and dancing around and having a few drinks. So yeah, it was cool.
And it was on a farm in the Otways in Victoria, and we were all staying on site that night. So I think from basically the ceremony onwards, we were all drinking together and just getting creative and, you know, playing with lighting. Yeah. It got to a point there at the end of the night where I said, I've just got one more idea, and they're like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
So I last saw you guys in February at Lonely Hearts Film Camp. Now, this is an event that you ran in 2020, and we're all hoping that it runs again in 2021, subject to COVID restrictions. So tell us...
It feels like a lifetime ago now.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit more about the film camp event and what we can expect maybe for 2021.
Ooh, good question.
Yeah.
So Lonely Hearts was our first ever workshop that we ran. We wanted to make it an event, an experience, as much as a workshop and a learning experience. We wanted people to have, you know, a really great sense of community, because too often what we do is very lonely. We're all lone wolves running our own show, and that presents its own set of challenges. So it was great to bring people from the Australian industry together. We had people from every state in Australia. We had some Kiwis from New Zealand.
Yeah, a guy from New York come over and buy a ticket, and he came to camp. It was really cool.
Yeah, so we had 48 filmmakers for 4 days and 4 nights of lots of fun.
Yeah.
And we invited some of our favourite filmmakers from Australia and around the world as well. We had a Nat from the Auburn Hour, Mel from Till Death, Humdrum Films. If you don't know them, check them out.
Yeah.
We had Matt Johnson, we had Remy from Maru Films, and of course yourself.
Yeah, we were very lucky to have lots of talented wedding filmmakers there to educate everyone. It was a fantastic event, and you guys did an incredible job putting that on. So I really look forward to it happening again in 2021. So with this film, you used a lot of interesting effects that normally we don't have time to do at actual standard wedding days. So talk us through about some of the technical challenges that you wanted to take upon yourself. You did something interesting with a drone. Just talk us through a little bit about the more technical side of shooting this video.
In terms of the shooting, it was just my personal experimentation with light. So the first part of that, I guess, the first part of the day was the shower scene.
Yeah.
And we wanted to light that blue.
Yeah, so I've been watching like a bunch of music videos, like really into like Billie Eilish, and there's like a music video by George Ezra where it's like really heavily lit and they only use like shots that are in black and white, red and blue, which I really love. So that was kind of like the whole concept for the lighting. So we kind of went, hey, let's just do this. So basically our whole film is that it's just like coloured lighting, and then any natural colour shots are black and whited, except for maybe like 2 of them to show off one of the girls' dresses, the green dress. But yeah, that was really
so
cool.
for the shower scene, we shot that in daytime, so we actually had to black out a window in that bathroom with towels and gaffer tape because there was a big window and we needed it to be a controlled light environment. And then we just had one square LED panel about that big with a blue gel on it bouncing up into the corner of the roof, and that just flooded the bathroom with blue light. And we had a lot of steam. We wanted to give it some atmosphere and some texture in the frame.
Yeah, and we did actually use steam from the shower, but we also used haze in a can, which is Andrew's favourite thing. So we're just in the shower with music when the 2 girls are showering, like hazing everything. And
yeah, and the music was important too, because obviously you got 2 girls pretty semi-naked, and it's like working with the talent and making sure that they're comfortable is a big thing, and we got to know those guys pretty well, and we're still good friends with them. So I think we succeeded in that. A lot of bad jokes helped. And
So you had some music playing in the room just to make them feel comfortable and just to get the most natural sort of feeling from them as they're in that environment with cameras pointing at them.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, because there was me, the photographer, and Grace all pointing cameras at them, and they're in the shower. So.
They did have bathing suits on, but it was just a weird situation, I guess. Like, so we just wanted to make it a bit more chill and a bit more fun.
Yeah, and that was challenging. Like, if I could have done it any possible way, I would have done that scene last. But because it was sort of just them showering before makeup and stuff, we had to do it first. Because in an ideal situation you want to warm them up to it, but they're pretty relaxed, and we've done a lot of work in the lead up in the weeks getting to know them. And I think because they're not actresses or anything like that, that's so important in the context of wedding filmmaking, to have that relationship, especially if you're asking people to trust you with those sorts of images.
Yeah, definitely. And in the editing of the film, was the music selection made prior to going out and filming, or was that done afterwards?
Yeah, it was done prior. So I kind of had, I really wanted to use a song that you typically wouldn't use for a wedding or couldn't use for a wedding. So I kind of like went through, that's from Music Bed, and picked out that track. And we actually didn't play it on the day at all. And we did like a bit of rough planning to it, but basically it was just, it's picked beforehand.
Yeah, but that's not how you usually operate.
No, I usually pick the song after the wedding, so it's kind of like a luxury to be able to like plan a shoot a bit more and pick your music and things like that beforehand. We even had the celebrant send us the girls' vows before the wedding, so I could go through that and start scripting in my head what I could potentially use for the film. Yeah, great.
Yeah, which was great.
Yeah.
And what advice would you give for wedding filmmakers looking to do more of this type of work, where they actually, go to their couples with an idea or a creative concept for something that they want to, deliver as a film that might be in addition or instead of a standard sort of wedding package that they might sell?
Good question. I think the main thing is you've got to pick the right couple. We had the luxury of being able to choose our couple for this because it was an elopement giveaway. It's the only giveaway we've done in 7 years of doing this, and it was because we knew that we could get out of it something creatively fulfilling, and have full creative control over that sort of situation. This sort of setup wouldn't have worked for just anyone. So I guess that's my main advice, is don't try and make a square peg fit a round hole. You've got to augment what's unique and interesting about the couple. You might have a preconceived notion, but unless it sort of suits that couple, it's going to show.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
Yeah.
And Grace, what were some of the challenges when editing this film? You do most, if not all, of the editing for Bottlebrush. So just talk us about
all of it.
Talk us through how that, some of the challenges or the technical things that you did in that edit to really make the most of it and make it into the film that it is.
Yeah. Oh my God, so long ago I edited it. It was a really hard edit. Like, it did take a very long time, and some of it was scripted and some of it wasn't. And I think I just tried to like come back to some of the music videos I was watching and why I liked them in terms of how to open the film. And there was one I'd been watching where they did start with a shower scene, and I had started with something completely different, and I was like, no, you know what, actually I love this music video because it did open like as if they were just starting their day shower onwards. So I kind of went back to that and started making it a bit more chronological. I think the choruses were the hardest part to edit because that was quite like interpretive, like I could really do anything, and it was such a huge song. So I definitely started by doing some of the bigger parts in the song first, to editing to those first, because I didn't want to get to those parts and then find that I had shit all footage to edit with and nothing to make it kind of big. But yeah, I don't know, there was a lot. The colour grading was hard because I've never had to colour grade with that kind of lighting before, like red lit, blue lit, things like that. So I did pull in a couple of scenes from some of the music videos that I did love and then compare colours to make sure the blue was the kind of the tone that I liked and things like that. So that really helped.
Yeah, you actually changed the whole blue grade, didn't you? After
yeah,
seeing
at the end I had graded the blue, and then I looked at some of these music videos and I was like, oh, this doesn't look quite how I liked it to look. So I just actually pulled in the music video and then started colour matching a little bit more too, which was cool.
Yeah, and you talked about this during Lonely Heart Film Camp. You talked about how
Yes.
music videos are often an inspiration for your wedding work, from a shooting and an editing perspective. So, yeah, is that still an approach that you use to sort of draw inspiration from that style of content that's available?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think it's good to remind yourself, like, it's, you know, don't just look at other wedding videos for inspiration. Like, it's the whole media industry of film, and we tend to only box ourselves into the wedding world when we are wedding filmmakers. I'm like, man, go watch some like music videos, go watch some films, some documentaries you love, and take inspiration from that, because there's so much happening. I also just am someone who really loves music. Like, regardless of my editing or filming, I just love binge watching music videos and listening to new artists and stuff. So I just always get inspiration from music, and same with music bed, I'll just go through that for a day and get inspiration, and I'll hear a really crazy song and then have like a great idea that could go with it. So yeah, definitely look outside of wedding videos for inspiration.
Yeah, wedding filmmaking is such a relatively young industry, so it makes sense to look outwards to, you know, music video filmmaking and feature film filmmaking and TV shows for inspiration, because they're so far ahead of where the wedding filmmaking industry is at.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting, I'm sort of seeing a trend where a video company negotiates with their couple before the day to actually spend a little bit more time with them in the morning, maybe especially, you know, one of the two people getting married, and really sort of, if they've got, you know, that amazing house that they've hired or something, allow maybe double as much time as you might normally, and bring that haze can or like work with the light in a different way, and really make that preparation in the morning something quite different and special, and that can really make the difference in a film. Is that something that you guys do sometimes, or?
We haven't. We might steal that idea.
We might start doing it. No, we've gotten really into doing shoots outside of the wedding. Like, if a couple's down for that, that's bloody awesome, because that's when you can get really creative. You haven't got time pressures of the actual wedding holding you accountable and limiting what you can do. So if you can get them for a day outside of the wedding, like, obviously charge them, or if it's something that you really want to do creatively, maybe just throw it in as a starting point. But yeah, it's so worth doing. Like, I feel like those are some of the better weddings we do.
Yeah.
And Gabby and Kate's, the elopement video, that's why it was, I think, so like elevated with our creativity, because like we did get to plan it. We did get to kind of like take our time and set up some lightings, like, you know, set up a projector and project things onto them, and stuff that you might not even have time for during a wedding, do you know? So
yeah, and because it was an elopement, like that's only the second elopement we've done, and I'm desperate to do another one.
Yeah.
Because oh man, you've got the couple to yourself the whole day. Like, that's the dream. And we, you know, set up situations where if we're overseas, we'll do a whole separate day of shooting, but elopement is already that. So, yeah, bring it. I want to do more.
Yeah, great. Well, thanks for coming on today, guys. Really appreciate your time. Where can people learn more about Bottlebrush and Lonely Hearts Film Camp?
Yeah, so you can find our website, bottlebrushfilms.com.au, and the Lonely Hearts Film Camp is lonelyheartsfilmcamp.co.
Yep,
and
Instagram, it's just Bottlebrush Films. We're on TikTok as well, which is just Bottlebrush Films on TikTok. So, yeah.
And if people want to see what the Lonely Hearts Film Camp was all about, go to our Lonely Hearts Film Camp Instagram, and there's all the stories there, so you can see what you missed out on.
Yeah, I think we'll have you guys on the channel another time, and we'll do Maybe a video about your TikTok page and how you're leveraging that to get more bookings. I hear that you're doing
For
very well
sure.
in that space. So let's jump on another time and talk about that.
Sounds good.
Cool. Thanks for being here, guys.
No
Thanks,
worries.
mate.
Thanks
See
for having
ya.
us. So we just want to do a bit of a breakdown because the text of the video and lighting probably doesn't tell the story of a few situations here. So let's do it.
Cool.
So this was our first main scene with, just a single light stand, a big square LED panel pointing up into the corner of the roof where two walls meet the roof, so it bounces around with lots of nice soft light. I think that was pretty much it, wasn't it?
Yeah, we just decided on blue lighting, so we went to blue light the bathroom to set the scene apart from a few other scenes we were doing later with different couples and, with different kind of styles of setup. So yeah.
My Katie Pie, my Kathleen, my Putacita. I'm so lucky to soon call you my wife. Before you came along, I never thought of myself as a lost soul.
These scenes here, we decided to black and white in post because we only wanted a few core colours throughout the film. So it's basically blue, red. We had one, I think that was more of a purple, and the rest, everything you see is either firelight or just black and white shots. So we didn't really want any natural colours. That was just a stylistic choice, really.
Yeah.
I don't know how to understand this mystery.
I never sought to have a hole in my heart filled.
I'm going to scroll back to this one because this is one of my favourite parts of the film. Where is it? It's a blink and you'll miss it moment. The lighting for this setup was really challenging. So you can see, actually no, that's not the bit that I was thinking of. We'll keep going. That was shot on a long lens.
And now that you've added so much colour to my life, so much love and excitement, I couldn't imagine not having you to grow.
So that was a dinner scene you just saw. That was all purplish. And then we're back to black and white here and more of the natural shots.
My beautiful gap.
And our fire scene. So this was all just lit by the fire. We were thinking about putting some fill lights in, which in hindsight we probably should have. But I still think it kind of looks like really beautiful. It's kind of nice just having nothing but the firelight to light it. It's a really cool rim light on all the girls on their faces. Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been... We sort of ran out of time, didn't we? The bonfire got lit before we wanted it to. So it was a little bit lower than what we intended, but we got some great bokeh with all the particles and everything. We were lucky that there was a bit of wind around that night, which really blew everything around and stoked the flames.
Yeah, it looks really cool in the girls' hair.
Yeah.
The gift of your love has been the greatest surprise, and now my most treasured possession. And with it, I feel invincible. And although I can't wait to seek out the joy in the world together for the rest of our lives, to have been loved by you is and always will be a must.
So this rose shot you see in post, I don't know why, when I see music videos and things, I really love that they use kind of one element to give the whole thing continuity and stitch it together. And for me, that was the rose, and I just wanted to keep playing on this rose and keep coming back to it. I don't know why, I just love it. I think it's a really romantic symbol and suited kind of the styling of the day really well. So that kind of effect there is a warp effect, and it's just I just played around with some effects in Premiere that kind of warped the rose to make it feel like it was moving with that sound and the music. And it came out really cool.
Yeah.
It's, I'm not hugely into effects and things like that, but just have a play around. There's so many cool little things you can do in Premiere just to add an extra element of movement to your shots. And that's the warp effect again there, and that's Andrew with a, what light is that?
That was our...
A projector?
No, I think that was the Dito style light, just a hard backlight. Looks really great, and I always love framing people from sort of the mouth down. It draws your eye straight to that intimacy.
Yeah, I think we actually used the projector too. So we used it as
Yeah.
to project shots onto the tent, which you'll see coming up, but we also used it as a light source to kind of create some kind of cool silhouettes and things like
Yeah.
that. So you could do a lot with the projector.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's again the warp, which I wanted to have on all 4 of these shots because the music is so epic here. It just goes boom, like it really hits each 4 times. So I wanted each shot to be quite epic and to kind of fade in from black to give it kind of a bit more emphasis when it hits that huge note. And the warp shots on all 4 shots there.
Yeah, and the lighting for that, there's literally just one light, a square LED on a stand pointing up into the corner of the roof on the left-hand side, just inside the door. You can't even tell. I thought there'd be a hot spot, but when I looked from the outside, there wasn't, and it just floods the tent so well just by bouncing it off the roof.
Yeah, I think this next shot's a gimbal shot, so Ange is just on the gimbal, and it's from a wide, and he walks right into the tent, into the girls, so you'll see that I've speed ramped it to hit just as the girls are kind of, I think, kissing. We'll see. And again, it keeps coming back to that rose to tie it all together with the warp shot every time. And for this whole chorus sequence, it was really hard to edit. There was a lot of different things I tried. And I really wanted to play with the colours, like contrasting each other, so that even though those blue shots from the bathroom are cut in between these red shots here and they're quite quick, because the colours are so solid, you notice them. So you can use really, really quick cuts here, but the colour's going to pop and you're not going to get lost in what's happening. So it was more just like a bit of an artsy edit. I just wanted to try some quick cuts and something a bit different with the colours.
So that one there is the lighting setup that I wanted to talk about. Might keep going and see if I can pause it again on another spot there.
That overlay you just saw, I don't know if I can go back to it.
Yeah.
Our mouse is here somewhere.
That. Oh, this is the lighting setup that I was talking about. Is this the part you were looking for?
No. I'll just show you. He likes to have control of the mouse, but I'm the editor. It is mine to control. So this stuff, so these fire particles you see, my God, I cannot find it. But you guys know what I'm talking about. Somewhere anyway. Anyway, that particle shot you saw before was just the projectile. It was like a firelight particle that I downloaded off YouTube, and then we put it onto the projector, projected it onto the tent, and had the girls silhouetted so they were kissing inside the tent. And we projected through the tent, and then we ran around to the other side and got some shots of them, some wide shots of the exterior tent.
Shot it as a silhouette being projected onto the tent.
Yeah, and then I think you see some overlay that I've actually put in post of it as well onto a shot where we weren't using the projector. This part.
Okay, so this is the lighting setup I was wanting to talk about. We had to use 2 Dido-style lights and something called cinefoil, which on set is sometimes called black wrap. That helps to bend and shape the light and to prevent what they call spills. So I didn't want. So the setup here is Gab on the right there has a single camera TV Boltzmann projecting straight onto her face, and I wanted it to be very much only half their faces lit. But I wanted them to be lit from opposite directions, so I used a second light further back, and Kate on the left there is sort of standing maybe I think 1.5 meters back from Gab, and she's got an exact same but opposite lighting setup, and again with the black wrap wrapped around the lens so I could really focus the beam of the light.
Yeah, I love this shot. This shot was all Andrew's idea. He kind of wanted to play with some side lighting on the girls' faces, and so we had Kate, who's on the left-hand side, they kind of walk into shot as well, so she becomes lit. Yeah. And it looks really cool. It kind of has that Queen, album cover vibe with the floating heads. I love it. It looks really trippy and something a bit different. And the theme of this whole video was supernatural, so we wanted things to look a bit different and a bit eerie. Yeah. So the lighting kind of reflects that.
Yeah, having Kate step into the light was a really cool effect because literally the beam of light is so focused that even 0.5 meter back from where she's standing or stepping into, she's completely unlit and you can't even see her there. So it was really cool.
Yeah, so you'll see it now. And this is one of the only shots where I actually showed natural colour, I think. And that's only... Daylight, yeah, daylight, sorry. Because I wanted to show Gabby's green dress a little bit because I was a bit obsessed with the colour. That's really the only reason why.
Gab, what was the first thing you noticed about Kate?
Her wild hair.
So you can kind of hear there, I've put in a few, it might be a bit quiet on here, but you can hear a few kind of wind sound effects just to go with that kind of fire. And I've used a lot of, I've ripped from the internet and even just naturally from the footage, ambience of like the fire crackling and things like that to lay under these scenes. So we feel like we're really there as well.
Gab knew she loved you before you left Vietnam, even though your final date was rigid as fuck and so awkward. She was playing along with the holiday fling line, but she was confused by her own emotions, and saying goodbye was really hard. Gab, from the first moment, Kate thought you were cool and sexy. She was immediately enthralled by you. Kate remembers the strawberry-flavoured cigarettes you smoked on New Year's Eve. And even though she's an asthmatic who had never smoked a ciggy in her life, she asked to have a drag because she wanted you to think that she was cool too.
And again, I think, when you're cutting, editing to music like this song changes pace a lot. So we had this really eerie, slow moment then when the girls were kind of looking at each other in those close-ups, and then it cut into really quick. We hear the piano come in, it's quite quick again, so that your shots should start matching that as well, like slow them down. Then when it kicks in, that's why you see these really quick shots of all the florals and this kind of pink lighting here.
Overly planned, and you don't know exactly what your future holds, but that suits your intrepid souls just fine. As Gab said, she quite likes being at the whims of life's mystery. When you look to the future, there can be no doubt there will be lots more travel. You'll always find new cultures to explore.
This was my favourite part of the night, playing with haze in a can.
That is literally, the haze was me just like quickly running through the shot, screaming like a crazy person and hazing everything and running off into the darkness.
Yeah, it's like a smoke machine, but in a can, which is great for on location where you don't have, or you might be in the middle of a field or something. The brand I used was called Atmosphere Aerosol, but I'm sure you can buy it anywhere around the world.
Haze in a can.
Mountains to hike.
I really love that sequence too, where Grace used 2 shots in a row of me on the gimbal. One of the things I've been obsessed with lately is keeping your feet planted with the gimbal, but using the elevations. I just think it's a really cool effect, especially when you've got a view like that.
You're guaranteed to taste everything you can and talk to anyone along the way. As long as the future provides you with more of the same, you know you're already amongst the lucky ones.
Just back there, that last shot, the lighting setup, we actually used a backlight for that as well. That was the fairy garden sort of scene, and you can actually see in the foreground there we've got the square big LED panel with the purple gel over it lighting them up. We haven't really hidden that well at all.
Nah.
In the top left of frame there you can see we just used one of the Boltzons to try and give them a bit of pop, a bit of separation with a backlight. But yeah, it doesn't have to be complicated to be a decent lighting setup, and there's lots of prac lighting there too with the candles.
Amongst the lucky ones.
And again, there's just the fire particle again projected, and then the girls were just having a boogie in the tent, so we decided to jump in with them and get this kind of reverse shot, which was cool. This as well is quite cool. This is just the girls casting their silhouette on the tent, which I love. It looks so kind of creepy, and we just had them again have a little dance, and then I think Andrew's on the gimbal kind of just circling around the tent there, so there's constantly a really nice movement with a lot of these wide shots too, because I really hate static wide shots. I find them like really boring. I just want things to keep moving for the way I edit. This is one of my favourite shots. I freaking love it. It kind of just looks like you're at a drive-in movie, but the girls are the ones on screen. It's really cool. Yeah. So the projector is on the other side of the tent there, and the girls are inside the tent, and we've jumped around to, again, the other side and shot them, and it kind of just looks like this cool kind of window. Yeah, it worked out really well. We tried a few different projections. Like I downloaded some water particles and all different things, but I think the fire one just worked the best, just suited the whole scene.
Yeah.
I think we used one where there's strips of colours kind of like a bit like trippy light kind of stripping through, which you'll see later.
Yeah, there's a flash of that in this. The other thing I just remembered we did as well, there's actually a focus ring on the projector.
Oh yeah.
And we were playing with that all night as well, like
pulling focus
on the these light particles and all sorts of things that we used, which was actually quite cool.
Yeah.
And I just remembered we used the tilt shift lens a couple of times as well.
Yeah, you'll see a few of those wides. I think there's one coming up where the girls are dancing outside the tent, and it's, I think I rotate the whole shot into a 360 or something, 180.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's all tilt shift. It's cool.
Yeah.
We'll try point it out. This shot, there you go, that's tilt shift right there.
Yeah, I wrote down the wrong lens. I wrote that it was the Zeiss 50.
Oh, liar.
But that there was a tilt shift lens, which is something that's been fun to play with. We used that on a few films in the past, but I just felt like that lended itself to what we were putting together here.
This is just different lighting, a different projection lighting here. It's and this is these little kind of diamonds you see hanging around. Really cool. You can see it on Gabby's face here. That one of the diamonds again is like creating a shape on her face as well as what we're projecting. So it actually worked out really well. We didn't plan the diamonds. Our stylist, Good Day, hung them up and did it because obviously that was their area to do, and it was awesome. Ariana Grande. Ladies and gentlemen, we were kind of doing a bit of a lighting setup. That took a little bit of time outside the tent, so the girls were just in the tent hanging out, and for some reason, because I'm weird, I just have a lot of music videos saved on my laptop, and I was like, I'm just going to project a music video in here for you guys because I know they like Ariana Grande, and they were just drinking and having a great time. So we played this, and I was like, this is actually really cool. Like, I know they really love this artist, and it kind of looks like they're watching a movie. So I ended up using some of it and just like secretly filming them from behind a little bit while Andrew was setting up lighting. And actually, it was quite cool because I think that's the music video called of Ariana's called "God Is a Woman," which really suits the girls because it's like this really like female power fuck men video. It's amazing. So it just rolled in with this whole shoot. And again, we see the rose, so that's constantly playing. So all those shots were match cuts. I tried to jump cut from every shot I could find where the two girls are basically in the position you see them now, just directly looking at each other. So that's why those shots, even though they're in different locations, sync so well. Because there's some continuity there, which is the way they're facing and the shape of their kind of silhouette and faces.
I was just on the gimbal twisting Dutch to Dutch, which is one of the things that I like to do occasionally, and sometimes Grace can even make it look good.
It is my great pleasure to declare you married. You may now kiss your bride.
I do not want to have you to fill the empty parts of me. I want to be full on my own. I want to be so complete I could light a whole city, and then I want to have you. Because
You talking about this? You just paused massively.
That was something that we thought about doing for a long time, and it actually worked out reasonably well. I love the way that the light fades.
Yeah, so this is
and disappear
Andrew.
into black.
This is you with the drone light.
Yeah.
Yes.
what's combined could set it on fire.
Yeah, that's a natural focus pulling camera. I think I was just filming them and decided to pull focus so it went super blurry. That's why, because I was thinking at the time, this could be a really cool end frame. And that's what happened.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Hope you guys got something out of that.
Yeah, hope you enjoyed. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye.